Hello RPG makers, my name is Langston and today we're going to be looking at this little prototype I've been making. So I've been really getting into board game design and I was thinking, what if I create a game that's kind of like a board game in a sense, where you just have this one central map. I played board games such as Gloomhaven, Arkham Horror, and I love it all. It's so much fun. But I want to take concepts from those different games and also a lot of games that I like. So, games such as Don't Starve and those games that just, something different. Anyway, so this is the prototype. So practically, I wanted to take the concept of a world map and just make that an entire game where you're just on this one world map and your job is to go around and just do RPG stuff. Whether it's saving a village from slimes or all this other stuff, Of course, I want to be able to use all the different elements on the map. So things such as caves, dungeon, towers, all these different things. I want to add all those elements in there, I want to focus less on making beautiful maps and more on things such as game mechanics, maybe story, maybe, exploration, things such as that, items, crafting, those type of things, where you get really involved in the system and not so lost in the going from one location to the next and going from one map to this map and having to make that map. Because I feel just on the point, with RPG Maker, you got to be very skilled to make beautiful maps, and there's a lot of time. It's very time consuming, especially with things such as parallax mapping and all that other stuff. I don't have the time for it, so I'm just like, if I'm able to make a system and make a game and then balance it and just have the core mechanics and cut out all the extra stuff, I think that might be a pretty interesting, endeavor. With no more further ado, let's dive in. So practically here you have resources, which is food, mood, and energy. Of course, it doesn't show anything here, just the different numbers for the tile that the hero's on. Of course, on this first tile in the particular desert is 3,584. So it'll change as I walk through, as you can see. As I walk, you can see I start off with a plump piece of meat right here. Pretty happy, and I have a lot of energy. I've even holding up a sword. But as I go through this desert, these values slowly decline. So now my energy shifted. I have that type of energy or that vibe going on. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Let me just walk around the desert since it drops these by the lowest. Let's see once I get to 70, what happens to my energy. And boom, it drops again. And now it's like yellow. So as you travel, these particular 3 items are affected by the terrain going on. So you can say, okay, going through these trees, going here. All affects energy and mood and food. Food, which is very important. So that's what I was able to do with about a week or 2 worth of plugging at it, But let's take a look behind the scenes. So as you can see, I have this map here, which doesn't have any regions. But in an earlier prototype, this map here, it's all regions. So let's take a look. Basically, my whole backend, or I'm gonna call it the backend, is in my common events, and it's in this little function here called terrain check. Of course, it is a bunch of script. It's all script. That's the only way for me to be able to do it where it makes the most sense, because if I were to have to do this click and point, it would take me forever, especially pulling in this data. Here's just an array of practically all the possible combinations for the lore tile set, so it gets all the IDs, and then here is all my data, basically manipulating values on how to increase and decrease, well, and just practically decrease the terrain, the resources based on the terrain you're walking on. And of course here I have the 4 variables for the 4 layers for the tile IDs. Here is the different icons for the food, for the resources actually, for the food, mood, and energy. And then this is where all the heavy lifting. This is the for loop that goes through, reads the entire array, and it practically makes sure that once it finds what tile you're on, it does the appropriate calculation. And so it increases all the values, changes everything, and once that's done, boom, closes up. And yeah, it looks simpler than what it is. It looks more difficult than what it is, but it's pretty simple. It's just manipulating some variables and checking, making some checks. That's how that works here. On this map, I've done pretty much the same thing. However, it's a different implementation. This one uses regions. So practically, for every region, it knows which region it is based on the number I provided. But as you can see, this isn't as, I won't say, this is a simpler way. However, it's more tedious because it doesn't scale. And the reason why it doesn't scale is because you have to go there and manually input every number and region per tile, and you have to keep track of that, rather than doing it programmatically, where just based on how the engine is made, you can practically keep track of that. But let's see how this looks once we go here. Let me remove this actor, apply that, good. Now I was toying with this idea here. We have the 4 characters. You have the bard, the mage, a mystic child, a lady, and another guy. So let's just go this guy here. He's an elven bard, and just click yes. And as you can see, it's the same thing. This one I made it really slow. And let me go back down to this. And the bar can sing. You have different shops, quests, and bar. Pretty cool, right? So that's everything going there. So with this one, I'll show you a little bit behind the scenes. Everything is going on with these events here. So I have a terrain code that actually goes through. And, well, this is done through scripting too. But practically it goes through. This is just a struct factory that makes a struct with food, mood, and energy, and then it makes a new item. And then here it's just a case switch, practically an if statement that says if the terrain is 2, do this. If the terrain is 3, 4, 5, 26, 27, 28, and 29. And practically it changes. It makes that change and then applies the change here to each of the game variables. So it just adds it. So for example, if I was on a region 28 I will get -3 to food, -3 to energy, and -3 to mood. And I set that value, and it just runs every time a player touches any one of these events. And it uses activation regions, which is right up here. And you see 2, 3, 4, 5, 26, 27, 28, 29. So practically it takes that event and practically copies it to all over the world, which I realize is a very tedious way. So that's it for the most part, you know. So I'd love to hear what you think. If you think it's pretty cool, think it's lame, whatever, you know, it's all good. Just good vibes here. So I'll keep you up to date. I'll try to post a video every Thursday, possibly every Friday. I'll try to paste the update showing what I've done so far. But yeah, I'm hoping that with this I could really focus on what I like, which is like cool battle mechanics and, you know, dealing with items and having to do the crafting and all the little things. I want to throw in like a lot of mini games, like maybe fishing, you know, and all this other stuff. I want to have that survival element. There's a lot of little things that I want to be able to add to this project and make it as good as I can. So thank you for watching and have a great one. Thank you. Bye.